We are almost halfway through our series, and this is the perfect time to recap what we have been learning together and hopefully have already learned. The entry into the Volleyball Academy, specifically its first part, which we called school, begins with finger passing, which is the foundation for future setting.
Training finger passing begins with getting a feel for the ball, first with the so-called playing joint, then with all the fingers, proper grip, and lifting it above the head. Next comes pushing into the ball. The key is the correct positioning of the palms and fingers, especially the thumb and index finger. We start with exercises without the ball, emphasizing the importance of the thumbs in passing. The wrists are bent backward when contacting the ball. The pinky edge of the palm tilts into a horizontal position. After pushing into the ball against resistance, the catching phase follows. The principles remain: wrists bent back, thumbs down in opposition to the other fingers. We taught the children the so-called two-finger pass, where we focus primarily on the flexible movement of the thumb and index finger. The thumb and index finger are the key players for proper passing. We incorporate both volleyball and basketballs. The advantage of using a basketball is that its weight presses the children's thumbs down. That's what we want. Then, we throw the caught ball away, using the so-called prayer motion for assistance.
Part of motor skills development for volleyball involves not only hand coordination, but also foot coordination or locomotion. This involves first stimulating the neuromuscular system of the legs through various activities like athletics, gymnastics, or dance. And second, the strategic use of the legs, meaning moving to the right place at the right time.
From the practice of the correct bump technique, we remember that the pinky edges of the hands must touch during the pass, the elbows of the extended arms must touch and push forward, the wrists turn downward, the shoulders push forward towards the ears, and the feet are spread wider than the shoulders. We also distinguish the bump technique for a free ball and for a fast approaching ball. To handle a fast flying ball, it's essential for the player to master a wide range of footwork movements. The rule is active feet, still hands.
We also explained that foot movement during serve reception always precedes all other body movements, what the split step is, and that each situation during reception requires a specific movement. It is important to teach children a wide range of movements so they can handle challenging situations.
Then there is spiking. We learned that the striking arm must always go through the archer's position. The ball is hit above the right shoulder and the wrist gives it the downward direction. We discussed that if you don't know how to throw properly, you won't be able to spike properly either. When throwing, it's necessary to take a stance with the left side forward, just like in spiking.
We already know well that the most important part of the spiker's approach is the last two steps. The second to last step is a long stride with the right foot, finishing on the heel. The last step is with the left foot, landing on the rotated toe. The takeoff for the spike is with the left side facing the net. Then we developed mechanical throwing into more coordination-demanding situations, culminating in spiking an overball held in the left hand. For a spike, we need a set. We start practicing it with an overhead pass, which forces the players to bend their wrists back. But we also combine it with passing in front. We use individual drills, pairs, trios, quartets, and groups of 5. Exercises with multiple balls shorten the player's time for decision-making.
In a real set, however, we pass in a different direction from where the ball came from. We increased the time pressure with additional tasks or by incorporating more balls into the drills, including basketballs. In the exercises, we emphasized proper movement from one spot to another and calmness during the actual pass. Then came the set behind. All players must master this, but for setters, it must be quick and surprising, which is why it requires a specific technique. Gradually, we push the players to set while jumping, focusing on proper timing and ball control. Exercises with more players help break the monotony of setting training.
Drill training must be supplemented with preparatory games, in this case focused on finger passing. We use 1-on-1, 2-on-2, and other games.
A good set is supported by a solid serve reception. For now, we are completely leaving out the reception of a free ball and focusing on the fast ball. We discussed that reception is an act of cushioning, where the receiving player reduces the ball's speed. When receiving the ball low and beside the body, we guide the children to bring their center of gravity toward the ball. But if the ball is aimed at head height, we prefer moving backward and rotating around the supporting leg. We also prepare players for situations where they may need to fall while receiving.
Just like with finger passing, the development of bump must also be supplemented with preparatory games. We demonstrated 1-on-1, 2-on-2, and other games.
And we return to spiking. First, there is the strike on a held ball while standing. We also incorporated hitting a falling ball from a kneeling position to improve arm speed. We practiced throwing again to reinforce the so-called body throw, where the arm moves across the chest. We struck the held ball, then came the attack on a tossed ball. We finished with an attack after a set, working on timing under time pressure.
And then there is the block, which is based on a firm core, strong arms and fingers. We practiced it with an overball, first lying on the ground, then standing on a bench. We coordinated the upward arm movement with the flight of the ball. We established the correct concept of how the hands should penetrate over the net into the opponent's court while blocking. We began the exercises on a low net while standing on the ground. Then, we blocked the overball on a lower net while jumping, and finally, on a net at regular height.
Blocking involves not only the arms but also the legs. During block movements with a sidestep, the arms are bent backward as the player moves. The sequence of steps when crossing over to the left is left, right, left, ideally landing perpendicular to the net. Moving to the right is mirrored in the opposite direction. The blocking player jumps when the attacker pulls their elbow back. Then we proceed to hit from an elevated position, which more closely resembles actual gameplay. Finally, we practice repeated blocking after crossover movements.
Behind the block is the defense in the field, so now we begin focusing on digging. First, we taught the children not to be afraid of falling. We practiced falling to the side, first on a mat, then directly on the court. Then came the dive. First, we did a rocking dive on the mat, followed by diving from kneeling and squatting positions on the floor. We practiced digging in the dive, first with a lying or jumping ball, then directly with a flying ball. We spent a little more time on digging. Most digging techniques are similar to those used in serve reception. We worked on eliminating the children's fear of a fast-flying ball and taught them to defend the space around them in a manner similar to a handball goalkeeper. After that, we taught them the overhand digging technique. We're not done with the topic of digging just yet. We explained what the starting position and body posture look like before digging. We revisited the split step and learned the so-called pancake, a widely used element of falling technique.
Then came the serve. After the phase of underhand serves, we quickly moved to overhand topspin serves. We demonstrated the similarity between serving and spiking. we learned how to strike after tossing the ball with both hands and gradually moved farther from the net up to the serving line, 9 meters away from the net. Volleyball is a game, and the playful aspect is fundamental to us. That's why we focused on preparatory games which included all the learned skills, and then we introduced the project of colored mini volleyball. From yellow and orange, where mostly throwing and catching are used, through red, where bump is forbidden to encourage movement under the ball, to green and blue, which already resemble 6-player volleyball.
Then we explained that a volleyball player needs a strong and healthy body for good performance. That's why we also focused on the health foundation of strength training. This includes both core building and, of course, developing leg strength, which is the mantra of volleyball.
That's all for the recap. In the next episode, we will transition from the school to the academy and focus on the variations of all game activities and their tactical use in play.